we are NV Board Gaming, and today we're looking at Dune Imperium. This is a 1 to 4 player game. It's designed by Paul Denon, and it's published by Direwolf. Nick is going to go through how you play, and then we're going to give our review.
All right, everyone, we are set up here for a 3-player game of Dune Imperium. To start this game, we are going to go ahead and flip up the first conflict so we know what we're fighting over for the first round. And we're going to draw our hand of 5 cards. Now, we all have little player abilities here, so here I have a couple here. I am going to be Earl here, who's going to give me an ability that when I take a high council seat, I will go ahead and move up in one of the factions. They'll also have a signet stone ability, so when I play that symbol, I will get a spice. That's a symbol for spice. That's these things that look like carrots over here. This fella here, Paul, is going to go ahead and have an ability too. He will be able to draw a card when he plays his signet ring. And he has an ongoing ability that he may look at the top card of his deck at any time. We have another player across the table, so we all have little different abilities. But first, like I said, we're going to draw a hand of 5 cards. The whole point of this game is going to be to get victory points. So we have to signal the end of the game, you're going to need to either hit, one person has to hit 10 victory points. That is a symbol here for victory points. You're going to see it scattered throughout the board, and that is the main goal of the game, is to acquire that symbol. So it'll signal the end of the game when somebody hits 10 victory points, or we run out of these conflict cards here, whichever happens first. And then the person with the most victory points will win. You get victory points over here. You can see the symbols scattered out here, like influencing different factions. You might get it in certain intrigue cards and so forth. So that is the prime goal of the game. The game is going to be played by placing a card and a worker. The cards are what tell you where your workers can go. So at the beginning of the game, we all have the same 10 cards in our deck. We draw 5 of them. And we're going to eventually go to a phase here that will let us deck build to get a better hand of cards. But to start, we all have these basic ones. So this right here shows where I can assign my agent. So right here, all these green spots. So I can only, with that card, I can only go up here in the Landsraad Council, they call it. This one, I don't have any place that I can assign that. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside because I'm gonna do something with that later on. Here's where I can go. If I wanna influence a faction, I would go ahead and do that because these are symbols for all these guilds over here. So let's say here is one that just has a triangle. So I can go to these places that have this gold triangle on the board. So let's say I do that one. How about that? I am going to place that card in my discard, and it says I can go to one of these gold triangle areas. So I would like to go get some, let's get some of those. So I'm gonna get a spice right here, goes to mine, and I have a symbol here that tells me, okay, I have 2 swords here, so that means I can move somebody from my garrison to the conflict. Green player can move up to 2 troops into the conflict, and I'll do that. We'll talk about why that I might want to do that shortly. So that's my turn. I did that, and I am done. Next player is going to do something in their turn. Let's say they played their card that had the signet ring. That gives me some more options, and it triggers off an ability. So the signet ring here says I can go to any of these 3 areas. Here, up here where the green are, here where the yellow triangles are, and here where the circles are. So I can go to any of those, and I'll get the trigger off my signet ring ability. And this player, the red player, has this guy, Paul, and that lets me draw an extra card. So now I have 6 cards, minus my signet ring though, I just played it. So I will go ahead and do that and put my agent on, let's say I go, how about here? Now it says I can put one of my cubes into my garrison. Done. I get to draw a card again, so I'm actually going to draw another card on top of the one I drew from my signet ring. And I have that symbol again, where the swords, so I can still take 2 of mine, up to 2, and go here. The red player decides they're going to do that. They're going to take both of those and go into combat as well. What they're fighting for is right here. They want that first place to move up in a faction and get a spice. Next player's going to go, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to play the ability from their card, go to a place, And it's going to tie up the board a little bit, doing different things. Some spots have things you have to pay, like here, you have to pay to water, here as well. Here you have a prerequisite, and that is dealing with this Freeman guild right here. So it needs to have, you need to have 2 influence in that guild in order to do that action. If you don't have it, you can't go there. Otherwise, you're going to have payments. So here is money over here. This is the resource for money. The larger ones are 5 units, and it's the same with the spice here. And the smaller ones are all 1 units. So this is spice. This is water. You can see that some cost water, like right here and here. And this is money, which a lot of these cost money. Also, you have some prerequisites on the faction. You have to add, not prerequisites, there are things you have to pay. So right here is 2 spice, 6 spice, 4 spice, if you want to do these more powerful actions in the faction area. When you do a faction action, so let's go ahead and play a card that allows me to do that. Here's one. This one says I trash this card when I use it, but I do have access to all factions when I do this Seek Allies. So I will trash that card and go ahead and place, let's say they're the yellow. Let's say they're the yellow person, and they're going to go ahead and place one right here. Oops, sorry. They're going to place one right here. Move up 1 to show that they are seeking allies with the Spacing Guild. When they do that, you have this action, which is the fold space, and there are some fold space cards. They let you have access to the entire board, as long as you meet the conditions there, but you have access to all of them. It's a one-time use card, but it moved you up here, and once you move up to the second spot, you get a victory point. And as you know, that's the most important thing in the game. So if they were to come back here, maybe here or here another turn, because I couldn't go back here, obviously, because that spot's already taken, I would move up again and get a victory point. If I were to reach a threshold over here, that means I can take this, and that gives me a victory point as well for allying with this guild. But it is perhaps temporary, because someone else can overtake you. So let's say green player eventually got up to here. Well, now that victory point that you gained, you now go back down that victory point. The green player steals this from you because they overtook you in this track. So that can change. You won't lose this one unless you were to drop down. Let's say I got it from going here, and then I dropped down 1. Well, now I lost it. So keep that in mind. They're not there. They are temporary if you were to drop down with your influence. And that's the same for all of them. You can see that it's pre-printed on the board. So other actions you can do, the green ones, they give you, they all cost money except for here, but you're going to see that. So if you were to go here, you will go ahead and, let's say, get your extra worker. That would cost 8. You can do that once a game. We all have extra workers sitting right over here. Get more cubes from your supply into your garrison. And you can draw another card here and get this temporary worker here. Only this round you'll be able to use this person. So you get to draw a card and do that. And here you get some currency for buying cards. Let's go over how you get to buy cards. Once you assign all your workers, in the beginning of the game you only have 2. Once you assign all those agents, you will do what is called a reveal phase. And then we only care about the bottom of the cards. So keep in mind, we drew 5 cards. So as long as nothing else let us draw a card, like you saw the red player got to draw plenty of cards, but the green player didn't draw any cards that we know of. So that would mean, well, by deducing that, we would have 3 cards left in our hand. We used 2 because we had 2 workers. And now we have 3 left in our hand. We reveal what we have, and we only care about the bottom of the card. So this says I have 4 to spend. I spend those 4 on these cards. Go ahead and take this Smuggler's Thropper right here. That costs 4, and it gives me better cards in my deck. So I can go ahead and put this on my discard, and it will come up later. It says if I have 2 influence in this faction here, this guild, Spacing Guild, which was the yellow player was going for that. But if I have 2 there, I can go ahead and draw 2 cards. Also, on my reveal phase, if I did not play this, I would get a spice and a coin to spend for another card. So I put this on my discard. Another card replenishes immediately. So once everyone has done their 2 workers, and then their next turn they're going to do their reveal phase, then we will move on to a combat. So we're going to do, this is what I like to do. Just before I forget that people, whichever ones aren't assigned to this area right here, where they give spice, we are going to replenish that. So this and this are going to get spice. Boom, boom. Make it more enticing for players to go there because they're going to get an extra spice on top of what that spot already gives. Then I'll do combat. So some people might already be advanced on the combat based on cards that they had. Let's say they had this in their hand, and they're going to move up 2. So that would have occurred on the reveal phase. So if green player did that, they would already have 2. So let's say by the time we are ready for combat, this is what the board looks like. And we'll put that right there. So as it stands, no one had combat. For yellow did not have combat. Green had 2 and red had 3. Now we resolve the cubes. You can see the swords were all 1. That's how that is. But the cubes are 2s. They are 2 combats. So green is going to get 4 more, puts them to 6. Red is going to get 4 more, puts them to 7. And yellow is going to get 2, puts them right there. Now we check if anyone has intrigue cards that they would like to play. There are intrigue cards that are in the deck. Here's one I just drew at random. That will give you a bonus right here of 3. And there's various ones. There's all kinds that will give you more than 3. You can give when you win a conflict. Yeah, all the red ones are conflict based. Here's a 4 one. There's one if you spend spice, 2 spice, you get 7. So all kinds of stuff in this deck, and there's more right here. I didn't take off the table, but we check around the table and see if anyone has any combat that they want to play. It will go all the way around. If it passes all the way through everyone and everyone is passed, then we're done. However, if let's say the first two people passed and somebody played one, everyone has a chance to answer. So it's not until everyone at the table has passed that is truly passed. So let's say that no one played any. This is the final result. Red gets first, so they're going to move up in a faction of their choice and get 1 spice. The person in second was green, and they're going to go ahead and get 2 spice. And in a 4-player game, let's say we got the 3rd place player is going to get 1 spice. That's going to all resolve. We're going to flip this for the next round, and we're going to keep going. The game's not going to trigger until somebody hits 10 victory points or this deck runs out. And you're going to keep doing these actions. You can acquire more workers, so more people are at different phases. Let's say you have only 2 workers and the rest of the table has 3. Well, you'll be doing your reveal phase before those other people because they still have people to deploy to the board. You're going to keep going, and yeah, the most points is going to win. You're going to get the points over here. You can see it all scattered on your faction. You're going to get points occasionally from the intrigue cards. There's things like spend 7 coins to get an intrigue. Different things out there. Maybe even these cards in the Imperium row will do that. We also have the spice must flow, and these stay out here, the ones that are in the reserve. It's because there's multiple copies of them, but it costs 9. But you get that victory point. So there's another way to get victory points there. Most points is going to win.
All right, let's review Dune Imperium. Now you're going to get a review from 2 people that haven't read any books of Dune, and we haven't watched any of the movies, so take that for what it's worth. So we're not invested in this theme at all. We're just reviewing this game. That's it. So given that, a couple good things. Actions, very good actions. I like it a lot. I like everything you have to consider. I like the card play, all the cards you have to consider. Mm-hmm. I like buying the deck building in this game. It works. I'm not a huge deck building fan, but it does it very well. It does it similar to Clank. So I do like the deck building in this game, and I like Clank's deck building because of that as well. Just everything you have to consider as far as what you're allying. It's essentially a race to 10 points. That you can view it as that. It works best at a higher player count. At 2 players, it's okay. I think it's pretty good still at 2 players. At 4 players, it was better. So we played it at 2 and 4, compared them, and I think 4 was it played better. Yeah. You can tell it was meant for 3 or 4 players, and so take that for what it's worth. Still, I think it's still a fair 2-player game. I'd still play it at 2. It's no problem. They even have an app that helps you for solo and 2-player. It kind of manages the dummy player a little bit. It even reshuffles, does cool things. So I would recommend getting that if you want to play it at 1 and 2. The game negatives on the table, it doesn't look that great. I mean, it's okay at best, but it's not terrible. The cards are a little iffy too. I feel like they're gonna get scuffed up, and I don't feel like they're very high quality cards.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that as well. The resources, they're chunky pieces, but still I don't like them that much. But at least they're not cardboard cutouts and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Yeah, cardboard tokens.
It could have easily been that, considering how it kind of looks on the table. It could have been cardboard. Luckily, at least they're not that. The spices actually look like carrots, like all cut up. And the way they do it is kind of like, think of Marco Polo, if you've played that, where the sizes determine how much they're worth. So instead of something being labeled different, it's just a larger version of itself, and then that's worth 5, and the smaller versions are 1. And Marco Polo did that too, but this is obviously way more noticeable in this game because it's such a drastic change.
Yeah.
A lot bigger. So the look is a negative. The character abilities are okay. It's nothing crazy. We haven't done the 2 advanced ones, so there's 2 in there we actually didn't do of the 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say that straight away. Maybe those are more enjoyable. I'm not sure. But overall, I'm going to give it a very positive score. So take my negatives very lightly. I actually really enjoyed this game.
8.6.
So I'm 8.6. I'm a fan of this game. I was trying to not show how glowing I am about it. I really do enjoy it. I want to play it right away. I just played it with 4 players, and I want to play it again. We played it with 2 before that, and I'm ready to play it 2 again. I like it. It's just not as good at 4. I mean, as good as it was when we do it from 2 to 4. It's not as good at 2, but still, I want to play it. I like making these decisions, and this game forces you to make a lot of good decisions. So 8.6.
Yeah. What Nick said, I mean, the good decisions from everything for the combat, the cards you choose to add, and what factions you're able to actually make an alliance with, based on the cards you're picking up. You don't have that many to start in your starting deck that are going to give you access to those factions. There isn't really. There's a one in trash it. There's that trash mechanism where you get this card, you can burn it real quick, and you have some very basic ones, and you kind of think, do I want to focus on building up my deck? Do I want to make that my priority, or do I want to try to find another strategy or a different thing? I was trying to build up my deck a bit. The last time I played with 4 people, I wanted to focus on getting cards, buying a lot more quantities of cards and putting them in, and I had some really neat thing. It was a little mean. I thought it was real cool, but when I had 2 cards that paired with each other, when you play them out, you can end up having a lot of cards with different add-on bonuses, and that's always fun for me. Everyone had to discard 2 cards, all my opponents, and it was the last round of the game, and that really sent people for a loop, because now I have to think about discarding cards, and now you only get so many people. You start with 2. It doesn't do a graduated system where you start to just get your players, like some games where you get access to more meeples the longer you play. This one, you actually have to pay a high cost, $8. You can get your extra worker at any time you feel you want to, so there's no set time that happens. And then there's a borrowed worker that you can use, and that's $5. And if you didn't go for the money,
Is it 5?
it's 5, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 2.
No, that one's 5.
Oh, wow.
Or is it 2?
I think the borrowed workers, and then the 5 one is the one that you get the extra 2.
It's expensive.
The extra 2 currency for purchasing cards.
Perhaps
I think
that's
that was
what the
5.
one I'm thinking of. Yeah, but you're right. So, but yeah, $2. I don't know. It's still, you had to think about getting in. You don't just start with any resources, so you have to think of everything. And when someone takes your spot, this is something we heard a lot when we were just playing with 4. Oh, it's common worker placement thing. Oh, you took my spot. Now I gotta find something else to do. But it's not like there isn't anywhere to go. I mean, it can be luck of the draw, though, and I would say that could be negative if you did get a very basic hand dealt to you and you didn't do much to upgrade your deck. You could have, potentially an action you didn't want to do, and you only have 2 meeples or 3 meeples to do them. That can happen, sure. Or you didn't get a chance to really get those combat cards you need to the bonus. Because I like that when the conflict happens, the combat that ensues, you can add to it based on. I had a really good one time that all I needed was an alliance to be able to pay the spice to have. They've added 5 combat swords. and I just eked out that alliance earlier in the round, and there was only one left, and I had to try to get that in order. So it makes you do some legwork sometimes, and then sometimes it comes easy. You just get to add some swords, and you're like, I won the combat. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
You know.
There's careful consideration in the cards you play because you have 5 cards that you get to draw, and if you have 3 workers, well, you're only keeping 2 cards for the bottom actions that you have. What do you call that? What's that stage? Not after the action.
Reveal.
Yeah, the reveal stage. Then you can get those. So there is consideration there because there are some that don't even have don't have a place you can go. So right away you know, okay, well that's eliminated because there's no place I can go with those cards. I'm just using that for the 2 currency at the bottom, or whatever it might be. So there is a lot of consideration for that. I will say for me, another negative, I will go ahead and mention the factions. So once you get to a tier 2, you get a victory point. So I feel like that was almost too easy.
Yeah.
So I know I can get 4 victory points just by getting tier 2 on all 4 factions. I don't know. That's lacking to me. That shouldn't be like that. Maybe it should be a tile, and we don't know. It could be interchangeable, but not every single game. If I get to tier 2, I get a victory point for that. That I wish kind of was a little different. It feels out of place that's pre-printed on the board.
Yeah. Could be variable. And I think at the same time, people will want to overtake people to get those alliances. Like if I had really not run out of options, I would have to look to try to get an alliance from someone. But I didn't feel like there was any drive to really reach the top of the thing. I mean, once you get in the...
Unless you're pressured, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're really... Which you kind of scared me at the end. I was like, geez, I don't want him to take this faction thing from me, so I'm going to jump up to. But I'll give you my score. I hadn't done that yet. I'll give it an 8.8. I hope I got that right. Yeah, 8.8. Little higher than Nick. I bought it, so I guess I have that attachment to it. But yeah, I like the game. I don't know anything about the movie. Now I actually want to watch the movie. I hear it's a little long. I don't know. I'll find out. But I want to see what it's all about and understand maybe more of the cards and what's going on in the game. Because spices, water, fighting.
Clever marketing because the game is good. You don't always know that from IP games. And the movie, I don't think it's come out as of now. I don't think it's out. I could be wrong. I don't think so. I don't think this movie's out. So if it's not even out, that's clever marketing because you put out a good game that people are interested in, and now they want to see the movie. I want to see it too. I didn't care about Dune.
We're not even
this.
movie people. No. We're not. We don't go to the latest, theater release.
Those days have passed.
We're kind of over that.
The board game hobby ruined us.
Yeah. We're thinking, what games could we be playing instead of watching this movie?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that this review has been helpful to you in understanding, if you want to get this game or not, or add it to your collection. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with maybe fans of the movie or the series. If they enjoy it, maybe they might want to pick this game up. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We appreciate you tuning in today. See you next time.
Bye.